I hope everyone's doing good. Welcome to my live program. Testing one, two, three. Testing the audio. Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me in whatever channel we're on. Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a wonderful um, Sunday. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Sunday, and I hope that you have a beautiful day. And make sure you smile and are happy, right? That was something that a lot of people found creepy and found amazingly sad at the same time, right? Uh, like we are being led by a group of people that might not know what they're doing, right? Unfortunately. And so are people going to admit that maybe there's no master plan? Can anyone admit and admit finally that there is no master plan? Let me share this. My name is Celso Garcia, live from New York City. Um, Share the broadcast, share it with as many people as you can. I appreciate you sharing it and um, knowing that I'm live on Facebook, um, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, and now Substack. Write in the comments, what is my audio good? Is my audio good? Let me know. Is my audio good on Facebook, on YouTube? Um, Thank you for letting me know. Sometimes I can't hear myself. So we being led by people that have a different mentality, a different mindset, that don't really care about the gas prices. Now they talk about shutting down the Strait of Hormuz and shutting down 20% of the world's oil and blockading it and not caring what is going to cost most people, right? Gas prices right now are at almost $5 a gallon in New York. In your area, how much are the gas prices? Or am I exaggerating? Check your gas pump, check your area, right? Electricity is at an all-time high. I got my electric bill, and my electric bill was the most electricity I've paid in the last 20 years. I got my gas bill. My gas bill is the most expensive gas I paid in the last 20 years, right? And the thing is that the job market is not doing well. People are not making as much money, not as much resources are available. So, what are we to do as a nation? We're being led by people that don't give a crap, don't really care about what happens to us, don't care if we make it tomorrow, don't care if we eat or if we're able to eat, if we have a roof over our head. We're being led by uh, narcissistic, self-interested parties that just think about enriching themselves. The most important thing of Trump's agenda was that he was going to bring down the gas prices. He was going to bring down the inflation. And right now, inflation they just released was 3.3%. 3.3%. And so when they do things like this, they're going to shut down the Strait of Hormuz again. It's not going to benefit me. It's not going to benefit any of us or any of you, right? Childcare is at all-time high. Um, Being able to survive, being able to do anything is at all-time high, right? People are cutting back. People are cutting back. Yeah, Janet Perez, the gas prices are crazy, and not only the gas prices, running a household is now bizarre. So the matter of fact that people, a lot of people have postponed or delayed having children, right? We have a big issue because the population's aging at a serious pace, right? Our population's aging faster and faster every day, and we don't have enough workers to replace the aging population or for people that can take care of the elderly and take care of those people, the baby boomers that had a boom. So we need another boom. So I mean, the right way is not by war, right? We shouldn't have a baby boom by war, right? That people, um, World War II, they went to war, then they came back, they had a lot of babies, and that was the motivation. So I don't think that's the right way to do it, right? We have to be able to say, let people know that they can survive having children, right? People are delaying childhood or having children to their 50s. I met many parents that are elderly and are having children. I mean, in the past, it would have been considered elderly, but are a lot older than they were in the past. And in the past, if you graduated college or you were able to get a job and work, or if you had a job, you were able to work your way up. As a matter of fact, my grandmother lasted 50 years working in the same company, retired, had an apartment, the same apartment for more than 50 years, and was able to survive. But now people are not even getting pensions. Pensions don't exist. Now it's 401ks, and they expect people to work longer. A lot of people I've spoken to, they, I asked them why don't they retire? They have the retirement age, but they refuse to retire, right? Because of their age, right? I think it's by choice because what's the point of having kids at a young age that you can't feed? That's a big issue, right? In this generation, that's a big issue. So when JD Vance makes these comments and he throws his wife under the bus, right? He shows the world that he has a rocky relationship. He speaks to the world and people are like, "What? What are you talking about? Like, what does that have to do with Iran?" Right? So I don't understand what his comments have to do with Iran. Why he has to throw his wife in there and everyone's dumbfounded. Everyone's just staring at each other and wondering what the hell is JD Vance talking about, right? What is JD Vance talking about? Did you ask yourself what is JD Vance talking about when he did this, right? Let's hear him getting on the plane after failing to have a peace deal with Iran and a marathon negotiation of 21 hours. People weren't sleeping in order to try to reach a deal. And then they announced that no deal was made, that it seems like they were really far apart. And maybe in the future there might be deals. But this is his statement to the world and to the country, right?
Found fascinating is he said, "We refuse to give up the right to enrichment." And I thought to myself, you know what? My wife has the right to skydive, but she doesn't jump out of an airplane because she and I have an agreement that she's not going to do that because I don't want my wife jumping out of an airplane. The second thing Golly Bob said, which again I found fascinating, is he said, "We refuse to give up the right to enrichment." And I thought to myself, you know what? My wife has the right to skydive, but she doesn't jump out of an airplane because she and I have an.
So Iran is like America's wife. I don't understand. And they're trying to jump out of an airplane. And, I mean, connected for me. Right in the comments, what was he showing? What was he saying? Right? Because we're hurting right here. We're hurting. And instead, we're talking about doing everything possible to help Israel. doing everything possible to help those people that don't help us, right? The United States. So, I mean, what's the ultimate goal? We still don't have a reason why we went to war. We still don't have a justification for going to war. We still haven't been proven that they have nuclear weapons. Um, we don't know why they decided to do things the way they're doing things, right? So, are you confused? Because I'm confused as to what was the point of this negotiation, a marathon negotiation, right? And that video and comment was stupid. I agree. I agree. And it just shows us what type of leaders we have. Yes, we have some crazy leaders that don't really care about our pocketbooks, don't really care that we can't afford to live in this country, that don't care if we survive today or survive tomorrow. All they know is that they're in charge. They have an elitist mentality. They have a mentality that we belong to them. And they have a mentality that the people, they don't work for the people, right? They don't work for the people. We work for them. They don't work for us, right? They have a mentality that we're wrong for demanding answers from our leaders, and we're wrong for demanding that they're clear and concise with us and tell us what's happening, right? Tell us what's happening. How much, tell us the truth. All right, gas prices are going to soar to $6 a gallon, $7 a gallon. Jobs are going to be shed. There's going to be pain. And we need people to hunker down with us because this is a righteous fight. But they can't say that, right? Because even our allies have turned their backs on us. Even our allies have turned their backs on us. And so let me play um, Acosta. He was pretty much kicked out. He used to be a correspondent for CNN, right? He used to be a correspondent for CNN. And it's like at this point, we don't care about the American people. And it's like, we just like, okay, every man, woman, and child for themselves. Whoever could survive, survive, right? At this point, is this what we're thinking? Is this the mentality? Every man, woman, and child for themselves? So let's hear what he has.
He's the host of the Jim Acosta Show podcast and the author of The Enemy of the People, A Dangerous Time to Tell the Truth in America. A dangerous time to tell the truth in America. Jim, sounds like words that could be over the top, except it's not even close.
Yeah, Ali, it's great to see you. There was a time when I was accused of being too opinionated in covering Donald Trump. I think maybe I wasn't opinionated enough. I think that might be the case. But Ali, it's a great setup that you laid out for the viewers there. I think we're in a situation right now where, I think we have to make it very clear to the American people, you can't speak truth to power if those in power can crush the truth. And I remember during my press pass case, when they took my press pass away during the first Trump administration, the Justice Department lawyers who were representing the administration told the federal judge in the case that they wanted to pick and choose who gets to cover the White House, who gets to cover the president. That's essentially what they're doing at the Pentagon right now. If you look at these Pentagon briefings, they're stacked with ringers and, MAGA ringers, outlets that are friendly to the Trump administration. And so, the arresting of journalists, that is another obvious problem for freedom of the press right now. And, as I tell people when I go out and speak about this kind of stuff from time to time, just look at the countries around the world that don't have a free press. They are not places where you want to live.
So let's talk about where all of this sits on a continuum, because in the first Trump administration, when this press incident occurred with you, there were constant instances of the president or government officials insulting reporters, telling them off, telling them to sit down, telling them to stop talking, taking their mic away. Then it escalates into things like yours, where they take your mic away, then they take your pass away. And to the average person in America, none of this seems like the price of gas or the things they actually think about. When does it become about your security, your democracy, and your basic rights as an American? How do you cross over the Donald Trump doesn't like reporters into a world in which you're endangered because of the things that they do?
Well, I think a part of this, Ali, and I think you know this too, that when Trump goes after reporters, he's unleashing bots and death threats, quite frankly.
When my hair started thinning,
That's
I
just
wanted
the
to attack
reality,
the problem
right?
head on. I chose neutral.
This is what Trump does. This is what Trump specializes in. He specializes in quieting people. He specializes in just making sure that people can't speak, right? That's his specialty, right? That's his specialty. He just muting people and not wanting the American people to know the truth about all the things that are happening. And I think people will be a little bit more apologetic if they knew exactly what is happening and they were aware of the truth of the situation in Iran and also the truth in the situation of what's happening with our oil, right? And what's happening with our gas prices, right? Like the what's happening with our gas prices. Just tell us the truth. We won't be that as upset if you're lying to us, if you're trying to restrain the press from covering exactly what is happening and exactly what's the situation. You can't hide it from us because we all see it with our own eyes. We all see it with our own bodies where we go to the supermarket and we go to the grocery store and we can't afford the majority of things there. And why hide it from us if we already know the truth that things are not going to get better, that things are going to get worse, and that we got to clamp down and be ready to have serious issues and serious problems in our society because this is just what Trump does, right? During COVID, they did the same thing. During COVID, they try to hide the truth from us. They try real hard to not tell us what was happening. But people could tell, and especially in an area like mine, I was in Queens. I'm still in Queens, New York City, where we had the highest mortality rates in the world. And we knew because when we drove by the hospital, we saw the body bags and we saw the trailers that were set up, temporary trailers to have the bodies there. And we heard all types of atrocities and we lost family members and we just wanted to know the truth, what was happening. And we're upset that it was happening, but we're also upset that we weren't being told the truth and the truth was being suppressed and the freedom of the press and the freedom to speak and cover things the way they are is important in this country. That's what we stand for. That's American values, right? That's America first, right? Putting the American people first, not just telling us whatever you want to tell us.
To me, that's happened to a number of journalists who have covered Trump in this beat. But at the same time, I think we have to also call out where a lot of this is coming from. And yes, he started a lot of this during the first administration. It's gotten much worse during the second administration. I never thought I would see a day when he was able to ban the Associated Press, from the Oval Office and Air Force One because they wouldn't refer to the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America.
Let me just stop you there for a second. Let me just stop you there because that sounded crazy. Donald Trump's now floating the idea of renaming the Persian Gulf the Trump Gulf, or I don't know. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, the Gulf of Trump.
Gulf of Trump, right? Gulf of Trump.
Yeah, but he already did that, right? And so the thing is that people like Jim Acosta was fighting. He was in CNN, and what happened? They rather take the side of Trump and then the side of journalists or the people that are trying to cover the story the right way, right? And so Trump is saying that he's going to go after any journalists that cover the Iran war or leak any war secrets or cover the war negatively. That's the issue, right? They're going to basically go after anyone that covers the war negatively, right? And we have to understand the implications of this, right? This is part of the First Amendment. This is an important part of the First Amendment. The freedom of the press, freedom of assembly. If they can restrict the press, what can they do with regular people like me and you? They could resist us and not allow us to speak, right? That's the problem. If they could do this to a press with more power, more exposure, and an audience, imagine people like me and you that don't have an audience, that don't have the clout and the ability to share. Everyone, I'm live on Facebook, um, YouTube, Twitch, X, um, Instagram, and Substack. I appreciate you supporting this program as every day when I go live or I'm able to go live, which, I've been going live on a daily basis. Thanks to you, the viewers. Thanks to you, the viewers, I've been able to go live because I want the truth to be out there. Even if I expose myself and I put myself in danger, I want the truth to be out there, and I'm going to keep covering this stuff, as unpopular as it is. You can support the program with the Cash App, which is Old Man Labor, $ Old Man Labor, right? On Cash App. And if you go to my profile, you can also see my GoFundMe page where I'm fighting the establishment. I'm fighting the political establishment and standing up to those forces that don't want freedom of speech and don't want the truth to come out, right? About how our systems, even being in a democratic state, I'm in a blue state, and the Democratic Party is just as corrupt and just as complicit in the whole affordability. They stand up for corporate interests over the average voter. I mean, there's a few exceptions, very few exceptions. That's also the GoFundMe. This is the Cash App, and I'll put it on the screen. $ Old Man Labor, Cash App, and also $ Old Man Labor, right? And that's the GoFundMe page if you would like to support and support the program, right? You can also hit subscribe. By hitting subscribe, you help the channel and you help me and motivate me to keep covering today's news in a different light, right? There's not that many people doing this, especially Latino doing this, covering the news from a different perspective, from a different upbringing than a lot of people, right? But I appreciate you, and I appreciate you supporting me. My name is Celso Garcia, and I really do appreciate you, right? Um, I really do appreciate you. Let's see what I do. So the Cash App is Old Man Labor, right? $ Old Man Labor. If you want to support the program, so I can keep broadcasting to you live from New York City, the most expensive city in the United States. So we know about the affordability agenda. We know we help elect Zoran Mandani as mayor because we know how most people are feeling right now with these out of control gas prices, these out of control dictator type of situation where they don't want not even the press to stand up and speak up for the people, right? And so that's the most important thing, right? That we need all of you to help support the channel. That's the only way this channel will be successful. With your help and your only with your help, right? I really do appreciate you, and I appreciate your generosity, right? I really do appreciate you and your generosity. So thank you so much for everything you do. And let's continue listening to Jim Acosta, former CNN reporter,
Right,
uh,
right. These things
leader last
sound
year.
stupid and nonsensical, except a major important journalistic organization like the Associated Press that is committed to the news decided that's not the basis on which we change names of things. And by the way, lots and lots of journalists depend on what the Associated Press's standards are to make their own determinations, and then they get banned. Like this is not a small matter.
No, it's not, and I think a lot of this stems from the Supreme Court giving Trump a blanket immunity during the immunity case, and I know there justices will say, well, we didn't give him blanket immunity. That's how Trump interpreted it, and he's been acting that way ever since. And so this amounts to his threats to go after journalists. It I think it sent the signal to Donald Trump that he can knock down part of the White House without any accountability. And the list goes on and on. It's starting a war in the Middle East without
And
following the
and,
Constitution.
and
And now he's
affordability
gotten himself in a jam. And
and
today
oil
he's talking about
and doing war.
blockading the Strait of Hormuz, which, is this a real threat or is this another empty threat coming from the president of the United States? The world can't tell the difference anymore. And so, this is why a free and independent and strong press is vital in this country right now. It goes right to what you were talking about.
This is the year your hair
Press
stops
is
holding
always
you back.
important, right? The press is always important in any country. In any country, the press is always important. The free press, right? It's always important. And so it's just a straight up mess that we're dealing with, right? Economically, people are hurting. And how do we tell people, hold on, don't worry, things will get better when you can't even say that, right? We can't even say that. We can't even lie to people and tell them, listen, everything's gonna be okay. Because I don't think they even know that. I don't think they even know, right? They don't even know what's happening. Okay, so this is what Trump tweeted 10 minutes ago. It's a long tweet. His tweets have been long, and he's a billionaire. What does he care what happens to us as regular people if we can pay our bills, if we can feed our families? Does he care? I mean, does JD Vance care? Kushner care? They're billionaires, they're millionaires, they're rich. They don't have to worry about a plate of food over their desk, over their luxury jet. They don't care if what happens to us, right? They don't care what happens to us. And that's why the Democrats are silent. They're taking so much money from AIPAC, from the Israeli lobby, that they don't care what happens to us, right? And I'm gonna show you what Israel's saying. So there you have it. The multi meeting went well. Most points were agreed to, but the only point that really mattered, nuclear, was not. Effective immediately, the United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. At some point, we will reach an all being allowed to go in, all being allowed to go out basis. Iran has not allowed that to happen by merely saying there may be a mine out there somewhere that nobody knows about but them. This is world extortion, and leaders of countries, especially the United States of America, will never be extorted. I have also instructed our Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. No one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. We will also begin destroying the mines the Iranians laid in the straits. Any Iranian who fires at us or at peaceful vessels will be blown to hell. Iran knows better than anyone how to end this situation, which has already devastated their country. Their navy is gone, their air force is gone, their anti-aircraft and radar are useless. Khomeini and most of their leaders are dead, all because of their nuclear ambition. The blockade will begin shortly. Other countries will be involved with this blockade. Iran will not be allowed to profit off the illegal act of extortion. They want money, and more importantly, they want nuclear. Additionally, and in an appropriate moment, we are fully locked and loaded, and our military will finish up the little that is left of Iran's President Donald J. Trump. So instead, he's saying that he's just going to bombard them, that so the ceasefire is not going to be respected. Is the ceasefire not going to be respected? It's not going to be respected. We're going to blockade it. And China already said that possibly they might send air defense systems to Iran. And intelligence came out yesterday that China has been providing um, parts of weapons, not only parts of weapons, but China has been providing all types of assistance to Iran, right? China has been providing assistance to Iran. And so, what do we got to say about this, people? Or we're stuck in the middle. They're fighting their war. They're fighting their whatever they're fighting, and we as American people are just stuck in the middle, right? Right? We're just stuck in the middle. And they summarize it best, right? Let's play this channel. Let's summarize. They summarize it best. What Trump was doing while negotiations were happening. What Trump was doing while negotiations were happening. Unbelievable, right?
President Trump flew to Miami to enjoy the UFC's light heavyweight championship fight. It was unclear whether the president knew that negotiations had failed by the time he entered the arena, with Kid Rock's American Badass as his entrance song. For the most part, Trump impassively, that's a word used by the New York Times, watched as blood and saliva sprayed out from the fighters in front of him. He also took a moment to speak with UFC commentator and podcaster Joe Rogan. What they discussed is unclear, but the brief exchange follows Rogan's.
So he met with Joe Rogan on the stage. He was at the UFC fight while negotiations were ongoing, and the negotiations had failed already when Donald Trump was on the stage. And what was his response? He didn't care about the negotiations. It was not a big deal. He didn't care. And to most of us, this is a big issue, right? Right? This is a big issue overall, right? It's a serious issue for us all, right? So I appreciate you. I took the reality, right? This is what Trump does. This is what Trump specializes in. He specializes in quieting people. Oh, specializes. Give me 1 second. Just resolving an issue, right? That's the thing, right? That's just right. Just usually people are not wanting the American people about all the things that happen. Um, I think people will be a little bit more apologetic if they knew exactly what's happening and they were aware of the truth of the situation around and also the truth of the situation of what's happening with our oil, right? And what's happening with our gas prices, right? What's happening with our gas prices. Tell us the truth. You won't be as upset relying on us if you're trying to restrain the press recovery. Exactly what's happening. Give me 1 second, everyone. What is going on? I did for us. Uh, we all see it in our lives. We all see it with our lives. And we go to the party, go to the grocery store, and we can't afford the majority of things there. And why? Hide it from us because we already know the truth. But things are not going to get better. that things are gonna get worse, and that you gotta calm down and be ready and absolutely and be strong on that. Fine. So, okay, so we continue with our live video. Does, right? During COVID, they did the same. During COVID, they did the same thing. During COVID, so let's keep going, everyone. Apparently, they didn't like the fact that I was covering certain things, so they try to block me on one of the outlets. So I was submitting a dispute because they didn't like the what I was covering, right? About Trump being at the fight, right, last night. So it's all good, right? We move on. Freedom of speech is important in every medium, wherever we are. It's always important, right? So, so now they say traitor. Mark Levine just called down. Uh,
No, he
they just called Tucker Carlson a traitor because he went on BBC and he went on BBC Tucker Carlson and said exactly what I'm saying. I'm not aligning myself with any white supremacists or Christian nationalists or anyone that is thinking about some craziness, right? I'm not, right? So I'm not gonna align myself with anyone that is against the interests of the public, right? I'm not gonna align myself with the interests of. I'm gonna align myself with the people, not the people in power, always, right? So if I agree with him, I agree with him on those points. If I might not agree with him on the other points, but if I agree with him, um, so thank you. I
Well, I haven't
appreciate.
fallen out with him. I mean, I've known him for decades. I've always liked him, and I think anyone who spent time with him likes him. I feel sorry for him, as I do for all slaves. He is not free in this moment at all to do what he thinks is best for himself or his country.
What do you mean?
No, he's not free, and
What
we
you
learned
saying?
that yesterday when Donald Trump announced a ceasefire, clearly with relief, and made its terms or most of its terms public. And then that ceasefire ended within 2 hours because Israel intentionally violated the terms by attacking not just southern Lebanon, but the city of Beirut.
So
and
are you
murdering
saying he's a
civilians
slave
in
to,
airstrip.
to Benjamin Netanyahu?
I don't think it's as simple as he's under the control of Netanyahu. But, you could summarize it that way and you wouldn't be totally inaccurate. Well, I haven't fallen out with him. I mean, I've known him for decades. I've always liked him. And I think anyone who spent time with him likes him. I feel sorry for him, as I do for all slaves. He is not free in this moment at all to do what he thinks is best for himself or his country.
What do you mean?
No, he's not free. And we learned that yesterday when Donald Trump announced a ceasefire, clearly with relief, and made its terms or most of its terms public. And then that ceasefire ended within 2 hours because Israel intentionally violated the terms by attacking not just southern Lebanon, but the city of Beirut.
So
and
are you
murdering
saying he's a
civilians
slave
in
to Benjamin Netanyahu?
I don't think it's as simple as he's under the control of Netanyahu. But, you could summarize it that way and you wouldn't be totally inaccurate. Well, I haven't fallen out with him. I mean, I've known him for decades. I've always liked him. And I think anyone who spent time with him likes him. I feel sorry for him, as I do for all slaves. He is not free in this moment at all to do what he thinks is best for himself or his country.
And so, and the BBC had to chime in and like, hey, stop, Tucker Carlson. You're gonna get us in trouble. Stop saying that. Stop saying that he's beholden to special interests or he's beholden to big money or he's beholden to people that don't have the best interests of America at heart, right? They had to stop him and be like, no, don't say that. Please don't say that. Please don't say that, Tucker Carlson. Please don't. Take your words back. Take your words back. How dare you?
What do you
Right?
mean?
No, he's not free. And we learned that yesterday when Donald Trump announced a ceasefire, clearly with relief, and made its terms or most of its terms public. And then that ceasefire ended within 2 hours because Israel intentionally violated the terms by attacking not just southern Lebanon, but the city of Beirut.
So
and
are you
murdering
saying he's a
civilians
slave
in
to Benjamin Netanyahu?
And this was a big mess, right? Because the Pakistani side said that that was part of the ceasefire. The Iranians said it was part of the ceasefire. The United States said it was part of the ceasefire. And then Donald Trump had a phone call with Netanyahu, and all of a sudden, the United States also switched their position and said that it was not part of the ceasefire, that there was a disagreement and there was a misunderstanding about the whole situation. So people are asking, what is it? What do they have um on the United States? What do they have on President Trump that is forcing him to make these decisions, bad decisions, for the United States citizens, right? As we suffer affordability, as we suffer economically, right? We suffer economically, and we're supposed to be quiet, right? We're supposed to be quiet. Then we got the mouthpieces, right? We got the mouthpieces saying, "Hey, eh, 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 um, the Israel lobby, right? We got the Israel lobby arguing that don't worry, give it time. This is gonna work out. I know the world is in turmoil, and I know it's gonna take months for it to be fixed, but let's give it time, right? Let's give it time. Things will work out. You guys are exaggerating. You guys are making a big deal out of nothing. But give us a little bit of time. Things will get solved. Um, just please. And then who do they parade on the program, on his program? Um, who do they parade on their program? None other than our friend, Republican mouthpiece, Israel defender.
One of my favorite senators because he has guts. He says what he thinks. If a party doesn't like it, he doesn't much care. He's thinking about the country. He's from my home state of Pennsylvania, John Fetterman. He's on the Homeland Security and Government Affairs committees. Senator, it's a pleasure to have you. You're on this Homeland Security Committee. So isn't what we're doing with Iran, it affects not only international affairs and the people
And it affects our pocketbooks. As much as people don't want to admit it,
over
it
there,
affects
but it
our
affects
pocketbook.
our Homeland Security, yes?
Well, sure, of course. But what it really has affected us, our country, is the political parties in our country right now. And now with the current circumstances with Iran, I'm the only single Democrat that actually continues to support Epic Fury. And it really, like I think it should have been like a bipartisan thing to supporting Israel and supporting to really break and hold Iran accountable. I mean, this is nearly 50 years of
Most people don't support Epic Fury, and they don't understand or care about why we're there. We just want to be able to survive. And that's why Democrats are suffering and causing suffering along with Republicans. Because either they're silent, they're standing on the sidelines while we go to the grocery store. We can't afford a dinner. We can't afford the breakfast. We got to cut back on gas. We got to cut back on a lot of things we do because of you.
what they've done. So
So why shouldn't people be upset? Why shouldn't people be angry and upset about the whole situation about what's happening. People should be upset, and you all want to hold back the truth, and you want to hold back and not talk about the affordability of what's happening. You want to put it on different terms. But most people just see when they go fill up the gas tank and they got to spend $80, $70, $60. That's what hurts people.
For
When they
me,
can
it's
afford
very
that,
strange why to be isolated as the only Democratic in Congress to support this at this point.
You know, there.
Every Sunday night, he
why
can't
are you the
sleep.
only one? Why are you the only one supporting this? Why are you the only one supporting it? Any reason why? Do you understand why you're the only one that supports it? Why are you all by yourself? Why is this toxic? And no one wants to touch it with a 10-foot pole.
This is the end all and be all. And I just remember these stories about World War II and how the American people sacrificed a lot to win a war. And I also remember the price of gasoline was pretty high under the prior administration. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, all of the kinds
Tread
of media
lightly.
that I consume, and they are making it. It seems that what's unprecedented that there's
Tread
kind of like
lightly.
an energy crisis, and that's just not true. I just tested that this morning. I
What do you mean
gassed
it's
up
not
my
true?
Jeep at Costco, and I effectively paid $3.80 for
Costco that sells the gas cheaper. Why didn't you go to the local gas station that has the gas higher? Come on, Featherman. You're saying that, oh, people are exaggerating. There is no energy crisis. We're just imagining going to the supermarket and seeing $40 steaks. We're just imagining things. We're just crazy, right? And whatever you say, we just gotta go along with it because you said it. Come on. The truth is the truth. You don't gotta play with us. You definitely don't gotta play with us, right? Don't play with us in a sense of what we know the truth is. Don't play with us.
a gallon. And 2 years ago, it was $3.65 for a gallon. And I don't remember all the Democrats, as a Democrat as I am, we never described an energy kinds of crisis and things were out of control. So
That's true. The Democrats don't care or don't want to talk about affordability, don't want to talk about economics, right? When they should. This is the message they should be driving home is that this is going to be bad for all Americans, and they're the party of the people, they're the party of affordability, they're the party that care about what's
for me,
happening.
that's the reality right now. I think it's entirely the appropriate thing to make sure that we can't let Iran to develop a nuclear weapon. And I do think we should, for me, why can't we just describe it in these terms? Because where we are right now, I don't think we can walk away because, you know, here we are, we're at the cusp of possibly creating more enduring kinds of real peace in there and holding Iran accountable.
You know, Senator, at the top of the program, you weren't here, but at the top of the program, I played the video of Chuck Schumer, who went to the Senate floor.
And so, are Democrats far off? Yes, they are. Are Republicans far off? Yes, they are. Why? They're beholden to special interests like APAC, the PACs that donate a lot of money to their political programs. Fetterman is one of the people that receives so much money from the Israeli lobby. Do you understand that? He receives so much money from the Israeli lobby, and he's forcing the words. He's staggering. He doesn't know what to say. You could tell he doesn't believe what he's saying. They gave him the talking points and they said, you're going to go on the camera and these are the talking points you're going to say. And we don't care that you're going to defend us because we gave you a lot of money.
Or September 10, 2015, and explained why he would vote against the Obama nuclear deal. And he gave all the reasons that you have said, that the president have said, that the deal would ensure that Iran gets.
When my hair started thinning.
Schumer is not the voice of the Democrats. Schumer is just somebody, an establishment Democrat that has been there forever, that has been there for like more than 20 years. He doesn't represent the Democratic Party. He does not represent the Democratic Party. He just doesn't. As much as you wanted to say, he's done. He's cooked. I don't think Schumer will be getting elected again. I don't think Schumer will be getting elected again. Right? I don't think he'll be getting it. He's not. He's not. If you want to support the program, hit Cash App, $ Old Man Labor, $ Old Man Labor. Schumer is not representative of what we believe, right? Schumer is not what we believe as in the Democratic Party. I'm an independent, like Bernie Sanders, right? I'm an independent like Bernie Sanders. And I don't think that Featherman, I don't think that Schumer represent the party or represent our ideals on what we want to see. Of course, I lean left. I believe that people should have a right to be themselves, allowed to just be themselves. And in a small blow to MAGA, it was just a small blow, not a big blow. Um, Victor Orbin just lost the election in Hungary, right? It was somebody that JD Vance was pushing for, right? JD Vance was pushing for him, and he went there personally to speak for him on his behalf. Hungary, long-time Victor Orbin lost the country closely. Watch military elections on Sunday, parliamentary elections on Sunday, dealing a stinging blow to a staunch ally of President Donald Trump, despite overt support from top U.S. officials leading up to the vote. Orban conceded to Peter Magyar, a former member of Orban's far-right populist Fidesz party. So the far right still won, but not somebody that was 100% aligned with Donald Trump, right? That's all. Somebody that's not 100% aligned with Donald Trump and with JD Vance. And this was an epic failure. The negotiations has left the world staggering. People don't know what to expect. People expect that the stock market on Monday is going to plunge, that the oil prices and gas prices are going to skyrocket, right? That the oil and gas prices are going to skyrocket across the board, right? Tomorrow, we're going to have a disaster, economic disaster, more than what people are feeling. And so, did Donald Trump make a bad decision getting us into Iran? Yes, he did. And when will Congress, that's coming back into session, when will they start holding Trump accountable? When will they start holding Trump accountable and answer to the American people as to what is going on? Is this a war? Because Trump has ordered a blockade while still claiming that this is not a war. He claims this is not a war. He's claiming that it's a temporary setback. that is a temporary issue. And then we got people like this, right? Dinesh D'Souza speaking his nonsense, right? He's saying, what are you guys thinking? Stop attacking Donald Trump. Stop making him look bad. Well, he's doing it on his own. JD Vance is doing it on his own. No one has to do it for them. So this is what Dinesh D'Souza said. Strong Trump MAGA loyalist.
Coming from the right on X, and I try to ask myself, what is the point of this? Trump is an extraordinary guy. We haven't had someone like him, at least since Reagan, and maybe ever. I mean, we're going to really miss this guy when he's gone. I sometimes say when God made Donald Trump, he threw away the mold. This is a guy that has exposed so much corruption, so much evil, and he has effectively countered the juggernaut of the Democrats. First,
and has created even more corruption and more evil. Right? He has created more corruption and more evil. So what are you talking about that has gotten rid of evil? So he replaced one evil people, corrupt people with another group of even more corrupt and more evil people that don't want to answer to the American people and have no guards, no guardrails. So what are you talking about that we're in danger of putting other people in, right? And I don't agree with the Democrats. I think that they need to also be replaced, the corporate Democrats, and put in people that are responsive to the people that take small donations, people that are beholden to the people, not beholden to corporate interests or to PACs or to lobbyist groups like Israel or the pro-Israel movement. We need independent politicians that represent the people.
by stopping Hillary in 2016, and then by stopping Kamala Harris, who would have probably taken the country right off the cliff. So this guy has not only negatively done.
Wait, Donald Trump is not taking us over the cliff right now. Donald Trump is not. Look at your refrigerator. Look at your bank account. So regular people, not rich people, let me know how's it going for you. Did you get a huge tax break? Did you get a huge tax break? Are you doing better today than you were 2 years ago, or even 1 year ago?
By stopping the bad stuff, but he's done some remarkable things on the good side. And
Like,
so you've got this attack on Trump, partly because of Israel, partly because of Iran, partly because of war. But what I ask you is, what's the alternative? Do we have a winning coalition sort of outside of Trump, without Trump? No, we don't. Is there any way forward other than going with and through Trump to a perhaps post Trump, but nevertheless Trump shaped new Republican Party? No. So I see these anti Trump fake MAGA performance artists who are all looking out, by the way, for themselves as people who are selling the country down the pike. They're willing to endure, some of them are even calling for it, bringing the Democrats back in power. And we know what that means. I mean, get ready. Don't think that because we've had a respite, these people aren't salivating, itching, scratching, ruthlessly pushing to get back into power. And they will unleash when they do. Reopen the border, surging crime rates in the cities, DEI like you've never seen it before, hail to the trans, abortion on demand, and more. This is going to be an unrecognized.
And and what about the economy? What about freedom of speech? What about freedom of press? What about having military in our streets, having ICE agents in our streets, pulling people over of color? And I'm sure if they saw me, if they saw you, they would pull us over and, uh, you know, be aggressive with us. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Living in your silo, living in your bubble, the voice of the people, right?
Recognizable America. And we're, by we, I mean, there are people on our side, seemingly on our side, enabling it, creating the conditions for it to happen, deliberately trying to fracture a MAGA coalition that is doesn't have a big majority, has a rather slim majority, but at least we have it for now. So why would you want to support, promote, and strengthen this anti-Trump faction when you are signing your own political death warrant by doing it? So this is a kind of message, maybe even a little bit of a warning to say, listen, I don't know if you're ready for what the Democrats have in store, but don't.
So you support Trump no matter what. That's what you're telling us. You support Trump no matter what. You don't really care what the American people have to say, right? You don't care about the American people have to say, right? You don't care about what the American people have to say. You just care about your own opinion, and you don't want MAGA to suffer. But it's fine with the American people suffering, but as long as MAGA doesn't suffer, you're fine. You're better, right? We're better off. That's all you're worried about is MAGA. You're not worried about the country and the state of the country or the state of people being able to afford to live in this country.
Help them get there. Don't be a part of it. There are many of us who are trying to stop you from doing that. And we don't want the Democrats to get in power either. But if they do, we'll be okay. Will you be okay? That's my question. Because when you see a collapse of the job market, when you see a depreciation of the purchasing power of the dollar,
Is that not what's happening right now? Is that not what's happening now? The collapse of the job market, the depreciation of the dollar, the out of control inflation. So what are you talking about? You're doing good because you got a huge tax cut as a rich man. As a rich man, you're doing good.
when you see runaway inflation, then that hurts the
Is that
very
not what's
people
happening
who
right
are
now?
trying to get by, for whom
What?
politics is not just a luxury or a pastime or a something I do in my spare time. Politics can affect your life in very fundamental ways.
Isn't
And
that what's happening right now to the regular working people? They're getting chewed up by the economy.
so,
They're
once
getting
again,
chewed up.
don't encourage the anti MAGA performance artists. Get away from them. I mean, these are self serving, vicious ingrates. Dump them, get rid of them. Nobody is saying you have to endorse everything that Trump is for. But what I am saying is that
Yes,
politics is
that's what you're
fought in
saying.
teams.
No,
Get
that's what you're
on the
saying.
right team. And in doing so, protect yourself, protect your family, protect your own interests.
How? How are you protecting your family when you can't afford to even fill up your gas tank? Where you can't afford food, where you can't afford groceries, or you can't afford those extra things that you used to do before, where you have no savings and you're depleted and you don't know you're living paycheck to paycheck and you don't know if your job is going to continue to provide that because your job is in unstable footing too. They're not doing well either. But the owners of industry are doing well, and that's all you care about, right? That's all you care about. And that's why you're recording such a video to let the people know don't attack Trump.
And protect your values.
Okay? So protect your values, protect Trump. Trump are your values. Protect and defend and don't criticize what he stands for. That's what I heard there. That's what I heard there from D'Souza, right? I love it when they use these Democratic talking points to act like they're the better um, uh, alternative, right? And what did Trump do today? What did Trump do today?
Genius. I give up everything.
What did Trump do? Hang out with the people he cares about, right? Hang out with the rich. Hang out with the ultra rich, right? That's what he's doing today. He doesn't care. Whatever. Living the good life, right? They're eating well. They don't care.
Genius. I give up everything that is. Give up the presidency. All right, come on. We have Florida next week.
So instead, he's playing golf today. He's hanging out playing golf while eating good food while the regular people are suffering with these crazy oil prices. I mean, classic Trump, right? Classic Trump. Instead of addressing the American people, this is what he's doing, right? So tonight, the mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, that ran on right? Mamdani plans to open the first city-owned grocery store, right? Mayor Zohran Mamdani will announce on Sunday that New York City will open a city-owned grocery store in East Harlem in Manhattan by the end of this first term, taking an early step to deliver on a key campaign pledge. The mayor wants to spend roughly $30 million to build a store at La Marqueta, a city-owned marketplace under elevated train tracks in a predominantly Latino neighborhood. Mr. Mamdani will announce the plan at a speech on Sunday to mark his first 100 days as mayor. As a candidate, Mr. Mamdani said he would create 5 city-owned grocery stores, one in each borough, in hopes of bringing down food costs for struggling New Yorkers. A second store will open in an existing building in another borough by the end of the next year. The mayor, the mayor's office said his administration plans to open all 5 stores by the end of this term in 2029. Mr. Mamdani said in a statement that corporations control the food supply chain and that the city needed to offer a public option. We cannot accept the status quo where even the most basic necessity, putting food on the table, feels out of reach, he said. This is about ensuring that every New Yorker, regardless of income or zip code, has access to fresh, healthy food at a price they can afford. La Maqueta has for decades hosted vendors beneath the Metro North Railroad tracks along Park Avenue. It once covered 5 city blocks and had many vendors, but it has struggled over the years and now has a smaller footprint and fewer shops, including a garden center and a vegan soul food shop. Mr. Mamdani said that he wanted the new grocery store to offer discounts on basic groceries and to provide quality jobs. The city will waive rent and real estate taxes for the store. It will be built on an empty lot and will not displace current vendors. Each Harlem is a diverse community with high poverty rates. Alcia Encarnacion, the local city council member, said she was excited about the store. That means access to affordable, healthy food that's hopefully culturally relevant. She said, the idea of city-run grocery stores has gained national attention as a way to reduce prices and to address the so-called food deserts, where supermarkets are scarce. Atlanta opened its first municipal grocery store last year. Plans for a store in Chicago have stalled. Mr. Mondami critics have warned that the stores can hurt private businesses, with one John Castellanides, a Republican who owns two supermarket chains in the city, even arguing that it could lead to bread lines of the old Soviet Union. Others have questioned whether city-owned grocery stores could substantially bring down prices and whether five would be enough, right? So in 30 minutes, Mayor Mondani will be addressing people. He'll be delivering his 30-day address of 30 days of being in power and 30 days of willing to support the working people. So this is the affordability agenda I'm talking about, right? This is the affordability agenda we're talking about, which Democrats have shied away from, which Republicans have shied away from. And I could say that both sides have not been promising on it, but Zoran has been leading on it, despite the resistance from the Governor Hochul and Julie Menin, the Speaker of the City Council, refusing to go along with this and refusing to fight the rich, right? But he's continuing, he's pushing forward. He made promises to all those people that voted for him. And this is what the Democrats need to do. They need to expand the whole idea of affordability, expand it, run on it. But they don't feel comfortable running on it because a lot of them are on the rich spectrum. A lot of them don't know what it's like to struggle. A lot of them don't know what it's like to um, live a life of struggle, right? So, so Zoran will be delivering an address. I will be covering it here. Believe it or not, I will be covering it. The address. Let's keep reading the New York Times article. Mr. Mandam is seeking to open the stores as the city is facing a major budget deficit. He proposed 70 million in capital funding to build the stores, which requires city council approval. Julie Menin, the city council speaker, has expressed concerns about the impact of the plan on small businesses and bodegas. During the campaign, Mr. Mandami said that five stores could cost about 60 million annually to operate. An estimate, an estimate by food policy experts found that the cost could be at least 100 million per year using union labor rates. Steven Zagor, an adjunct assistant professor at Columbia Business School, who focuses on food businesses, said that grocery stores are difficult to run and have small profit margins. The stores will need financial support for years, like other government-backed services include Amtrak, he said. There's going to be a political football. There are going to be people who don't want to subsidize it, he said. Still, Mr. Zagor said that the stores can provide price stability and offer residents quality fruits and vegetables to address health concerns like obesity and diabetes. Liz Acklos, the executive director of Community Food Advocates, a nonprofit that works to improve food access, said that the store was a critical first step. She hopes the city will eventually have a network of 20 city-owned stores. New Yorkers across income categories are struggling with grocery prices, she said. The city plans to choose an operator to run the store and will start the procurement process this summer. City officials have examined different models, including commission, commissary grocery stores run by the Defense Department that offer low prices to military uh, members and veterans. The market in East Harlem first opened in 1936 when it operated under a different name and served as a gathering place for pushcart vendors. The city's Economic Development Corporation runs the market and several others. Mrs. Encarnacion says she believed the city council would support the plan as part of its efforts to address affordability, noting that there were long lines across the city outside food pantries. The lines are growing all over our district, he said. There's still a stigma around those lines and a hesitancy to seek help when it's so public, right? So people will be able to pick their food and be able to pay for it at a discount, right? So these will be city-run grocery stores, which will cause popularity for people to be able to live their lives and be able to afford their lives, right? So instead of the profit back into the people and into the store and to paying workers and to subsidizing the prices of the food. I don't know if you could find this a bad thing. Do you find this a bad idea that government is trying to address the food prices? I don't think this is a bad idea. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, as a regular worker that works a job, that works paycheck to pay, lives paycheck to paycheck, I like the idea that um, the food can be subsidized and I can live a decent life and stay in the city that I love, right? Stay in New York City, the city that I love, that's extremely expensive and has been expensive and getting more expensive, right? So this is something that the Democrats should adopt across the city and across the state. They should adopt Zoran's agenda. They should adopt the affordability agenda of Zoran Mandani. Stop being afraid to make bold decisions and make bold moves for the people. You have to make bold moves for the people. You can't just think about, all right? So, and so now they're bringing up these talking. I don't know if I want to play this guy. Should I play him? Elon Musk is playing him. Let me see what he has to say. Um, let's give him a chance. Wow. Let's give him a chance, right? To be heard. Let's hear his voice. And I'll tell you if I like it or not. If not, I'll never play it again, right? But let's give it a chance.
People, as far back as the history of the human species goes, it's one of many. It's one of the history of slavery. Slavery existed all over the world for thousands of years among all sorts of people. As far back as the history of the human species goes, it's one of many evils that the left tries to localize, when in fact it is a universal evil. But more than that, as much as slavery is repudiated around the world today, prior to the 18th century, I know of no serious effort to abolish the institution anywhere. Anywhere.
Not in Africa, not in the Arabian
not
world.
in Africa in the 21st century. When Adam Smith wrote in 1776 that the only place in the world where slavery had been abolished completely was Western Europe. And so this was
as late as the year this country was founded.
Yes. The history of slavery existed all over the world for thousands of years.
That doesn't disprove that it was replaced with
Among
a system
sorts of
of
people.
exploitation of workers and exploitation of regular people, right? Um, of how the world works, right? Just a reality that the world is not what we want it to be, and it's not always where we want it to be. But focusing on affordability, it to me is always going to be something crucial and important. And so let me play this video. So let me see. Let's play this.
Mamdani is announcing the first of 5 sites for his administration's city-owned grocery stores. The food hall you see today is going to remain, but it'll
A solution to your skyrocketing grocery bill is hidden in plain sight. This may look like a traditional food hall.
It's about to be a lot more. We're here at La Marqueta, which will soon be home to one of the 5 city-run grocery stores across New York City.
Today, New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani is announcing the first of 5 sites for his administration's city-owned grocery stores. The food hall you see today is going to remain, but it'll be expanded into a neighboring empty lot, which will be turned into a publicly run supermarket.
How is this store going to run?
So the city will contract a private vendor that will run these grocery stores. As part of that contract, they will be required to pay union standards to their workers. That's not a suggestion, it is a requirement. Also, another requirement as part of the contract will be to pass on any subsidy directly to consumers in the form of savings. There will be a basket of goods, essential items that New Yorkers buy from their supermarkets, that these supermarkets will sell at reduced price. The other part is that this is a location that is accessible whether you're walking, whether you're biking, whether you're taking the train, whether you're taking the bus, whether you're driving. It is within reach of so many, even beyond those who call this neighborhood their home.
How'd you pick this site to be the first that you're announcing?
You know, this is a site that is rich in its history, an illustration of a vision of government that would actually meet the needs of working class New Yorkers. The history of La Marqueta begins in 1936, when Fiorel LaGuardia opened what was then known as the Park Avenue Retail Market. And the goal of that was to bring food vendors into one place to provide safe and cheaper sale of this food.
Over the decades, the Park Avenue Market became integral to the life of East Harlem. As the Puerto Rican community became established here, the market was renamed La Marqueta. The city sold it to a private owner in the 1960s, but took it back in the 1990s. Now, Mamdani wants to expand La Marqueta to realize its full potential.
Why is it such a priority for your administration?
It's a priority because when you ask New Yorkers about the cost of living crisis, they will invariably bring up grocery prices again and again as one of the examples of how they're feeling pushed out of this city. And we see that in the pandemic, prices went up, and since then they really have never come down for so many New Yorkers. We want it to be clear that in this city, food is something that should never be out of reach for any person who calls it home. And this is one step towards exactly that. 65,000 people live within a 10-minute walk of this space, and of them, close to 40% are on public assistance. And we have 5,000 NYCHA residents living on either side of Park Avenue, every one of whom has been feeling the cost of living crisis in the city. This is the way
Follow
we
button,
start to
everyone.
deliver cheaper
I
groceries to
appreciate
New
you.
Yorkers. This store will open by the end of our first term, as will every one of the 5 city-run grocery stores across New York City. One will be in each borough, and the first one will open by the end of next year.
An elected official keeping a campaign promise. Don't even know how to feel about that.
Thank you everyone for watching and for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Support the channel. You can hit up the Cash App, support the channel, and hit the follow button and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, and Substack. Thank you. I'll be back in a few to cover Major Mandani's address to the city at his 100 days. Thank you. Have a good night.